Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
And now, coming live from the Midwest Racks and Rods studio, it's the Outdoor Show with your hosts. Nobody cares, but this is Drew. That's Scott. We got special in-studio guest Mikey T. And as always, Luke hit me with the horns, Tony. And we are here because it's the most wonderful time of the... That's right. It's turkey time.
Yeah,
Turkey talk.
you'll go with that for sure. It is turkey talk. We're excited.
Excited.
It's a thirsty Thursday, and it's Turkey Thursday. It's Turkey Talk Thursday. Fired up.
Man.
I mean, look at Mike over here. He can hardly contain himself.
That's...
Look, facial expression and everything.
If you know Mike, that is actually him very excited.
He can't hardly contain himself.
Before we get too far into this, we do have a special word from our sponsors. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Tagged and Bagged. They specialize in pre-taxidermy.
Fucked up
Cut.
there.
Oh, we're live? Tonight's episode is brought to you by Tagged and Bagged. They specialize in pre-taxidermy packaging for waterfowl. Their mission is to provide hunters with the highest quality packaging products to ensure preservation of a hunter's prized trophy. Tagged and Bagged products are made with the best materials and are designed to withstand the toughest hunting conditions. Taggedandbagged.net, right, that's right, folks. Taggedandbagged.net. Get on it.
Words is hard.
It really is sometimes,
Words is hard.
especially when you're a knucklehead.
Who else do we got there, Drew?
Well, we also have Bucket Ready. Bucket Ready offers premium food plot seed for the best results when attracting wildlife to your property. Knowing what deer prefer, when they prefer it, and putting the best seed together for deer in your special hunting spot is what Bucket Ready Performance Food Plot Seed Mixtures is all about. BucketReady.com. You know it. You know it. Get on it.
Get on it. Yeah, and we'll get to our other partners a little bit later on in the
course.
show. Absolutely, as we always do.
But that's good because some of turkey hunting is planning what you're going to do in the fall and all the work you have to do during summer to plant food plots or do
Depending
different
upon
things.
where you're hunting. I mean, if you're hunting your own private properties and stuff, for sure. Public land maybe a little bit different. But
Sure. Yeah.
we try to cover a lot of bases. Here, a little bit of private, a little bit of public, mobile, and that we're trying to cover a little bit of everything.
Oh, there's quite a few hunters out there that hunt public on the regular, so.
Oh, absolutely. We're all public landowners. We all own it, right? I mean, that's the saying everybody goes with. We're all public landowners.
We have a question.
Oh, already? Jeez. We haven't even okay,
Holy
what do we got?
Why can't Drew say anything?
Is
right?
Jew drunk?
Not yet, surprisingly, but working on it.
He's double fisting here. He's got a Miller Lite
A
and
drink and a smoke and a drink and a smoke.
a little bit of bourbon there. So yeah, man,
It's been a week. Don't judge
oh man, it has been a week, hasn't it? Oh, it's been a few weeks for sure.
Yeah.
And we've been plugging away here, guys, trying to give you guys the best possible half-ass content that we always do. And this is our third week in a row here. Normally we do these shows every other week and
Right.
that, but we had open season a couple weeks ago, so we
Threw a
weren't
wrench.
able to do a show then because we were up there working with Buckstik. So we got to do a turkey show because here in Wisconsin, the season opens next week Wednesday. Isn't that right there, Mike?
Right.
As in other places in the Midwest, Iowa is in full swing.
Yep.
Illinois. This weekend here in Wisconsin is the youth season.
Yeah, that's right. And
So
Michigan is, correct me if I'm wrong, they're next week too, aren't they?
I think so. I couldn't correct you because I'm not really sure. And again, ill prepared as usual here.
Half-assed.
That's why
If
we're
only
on
there was a
little
way to
slip.
look up some key information.
But
Go
yeah,
ahead,
we-
talks amongst yourselves.
All right, we will. Yeah, and I'm telling you, like,
Michigan starts April 20th.
Thanks, Luke,
look
the
at that.
producer.
He is Luke on the spot. Any excuse he can get to use that damn air horn.
I love it. Love that air horn.
Hate it, but love Luke. Thanks. Again, that date is what?
April 20th, 420 for those who celebrate.
All right, so next week as
Turkeys.
well. Yeah. So Michigan aligns with us here as well, which makes sense. I mean, I think it kind of goes, based on, you go further down south,
Right.
and that you're going to have, the season starting a little bit earlier as well. So, but yeah, I mean, it's a magical time of year. If you like turkey hunting, if turkey hunting's not your thing, it's like, well, I'm still looking for some sheds.
Right.
Thinking about getting my food plots planted, but
To that point, there was a time where, and I feel like we've talked about this at some point in time, probably in one of the other Turkey Talk editions, if you were, but how you guys were talking about, yeah, we're going to start turkey hunting. I'm like, that's nuts. That's crazy talk. Why are you guys even going to do that? Who cares about turkey? And then I went.
right?
So if you haven't, check it out. It's very affordable. It's not like bow hunting in terms of,
Well, the ammo's a little expensive, but you really only need
yeah.
one shot, or if you're using archery equipment,
Sure.
obviously.
but you can get it done on the cheap. Get yourself however you want to do it. If you want to sit in a blind or you want to scoot and shoot, there's definitely ways to do it affordably and get out there and enjoy the better weather. Not always the case, but
No, we've turkey hunted in the snow already
Right.
for sure, or where it's been like just blowing snow. I mean, not that it really sticks a whole lot, but we've done it.
It's rough sometimes.
Yeah.
But some people just go and sit at the bottom of a tree too. I mean, you really don't
Sure,
have to.
right.
If you got a
You
good
don't have
spot
to
or
at
you
all.
know where they are, it's
Right, because there's so many different tactics on the way you want to do it. I mean, whether you're going to set up in a blind, whether you're going to get real deep, heavy, camoed up, covering your face in that, and just sitting up against a tree and calling with a mouth call,
yeah,
to scoot and shoots, where you're spotting them and getting after, kind of chasing them, or there's reaping.
that
Where you're using, whether it just be a real fan or there's some companies out there that make artificial ones that are supposed to look realistic. I mean, some of them do, but there's also some that are really, really bad out there too. It's just like some plastic painted stuff. And to that point, we've seen that before, like, right, where sometimes that works and sometimes a bird, especially a little bit older bird, older Tom,
Right.
is going to be like, yeah, no.
I don't know what that is.
And that's also assuming that, maybe giving that bird a little bit too much credit. There's a lot of reasons why that bird's just maybe not interested.
Right.
But now I think we're getting a little bit too deep. And we'll get back to that here in a second. But let's just get back to like the excitement of what turkey hunting is and, what gets us a charge. Like you mentioned, Mike and I, we're self-taught. We started 15, I bet you it's about 15 years now, pretty close. I think, yeah, I would say it's been about 15 years that we started
See
turkey
the gears
hunting.
turning in Mike's
Yeah.
head.
He's going to get real technical. He's like, I believe it was 14 and a half.
12 and a half. No, no, it was roughly that. But yeah, I mean, we started literally like just, well, I guess we'll just get a chair and go sit out there and behind that little stick in the
that's
ground
right.
blind
That's
thing.
right.
And
Yeah.
just picked a spot and sat there, and it was
Right. I mean, we got
80
ourselves
degrees
real,
out and-
we got ourselves really camoed up.
caught all the ticks within a square
my
mile of us.
God.
We're all on you.
And you still have that little collapsible,
I still use
because we used that, what was that, 3 years ago? And kind of on the high line, and here's three of us trying to tuck in.
Yeah,
behind this thing.
one of us filming, two hunting. But
One
you know
calling.
what? If you keep your movement down, you know,
Right.
it works. But yeah, I mean, that was our mobile blind. You know, all right, we're moving in, we're getting close, and that was something you could just quick. The two of us, we could pull out, stake in the ground real quick.
change
Just the
of
height.
it.
Yeah.
You could adjust the height a little bit, and you know, so
Gives
if
you
you
some
didn't have a lot of cover in that spot,
Right. Which in that instance,
because we were always filming too.
Yeah.
Like, well, let's just go right from not being good turkey hunters, and then let's film it too. Like, let's add that element
right. Make
and
things
get nuts
more
with it.
difficult.
Let's just get nuts with it here. Let's just try to film it too. I mean, and how many times has that bit us in the ass too? Because we're like, no, can't get him in frame, or can't do this. I mean, it's cost me a couple birds over the years, even self-filming, that you're so obsessed with getting it on, getting it's. I think the same can be said with deer hunting.
Oh,
If
absolutely.
you're trying to self-film that way, if you're obsessed with it, if it doesn't really matter to you, if you don't
get
have a
it great-
TV show,
right.
if you're not filming for a TV show or anything like that, then, you know, I guess it's kind of a personal preference. Is it that important to get it on film, or is it then more important to kill that deer or kill that turkey, whatever it is? I mean, I don't know.
Oh, and think about how much footage we have of us hunting. That's just kind of sitting in the archives.
It really is. I
And
mean,
we
we make reels out of them.
right. But it's nice to have to look back on, and
There's always
spur up
this-
some memories of that hunt, and whether you guys get to see it or not, probably don't want to. But anyhow, it's still nice to have.
Most of it's been tainted by all of his F-bombs.
I get excited.
I'm like, I can't, Drew, what am I supposed to do with this here? I mean, just play some music over the top, because you're like, holy,
it was the first one. It was the first one.
the first one you
filmed.
filmed. You
Yeah.
filmed for me, and then
I lost my mind.
You did.
We have a actual question on the chat line.
Okay.
Mike Mason wants to know if we're talking about ducks tonight.
Duh.
No.
Duck, goose.
About as far
Come
as we'll
on,
go
Mike.
as far as ducks is
Grab yourself another old
is
style.
our partners over at Tagged In Bag for your pre-taxidermy needs. But Mike, I know you're just joshing us here, because
Oh, we have a tip. Turkey hunting tip.
pro tip.
Pro tip. Make sure your
who?
needs
From who?
from Steve Schwarz.
From team
Schwartz.
member Steve. Okay.
His profile picture looks like he's at Augusta. Here's a little tip. Make sure your reeds are separated by using a toothpick.
Oh, for your mouth calls.
for the mouth. Yep.
Well, that's just getting fancy with it.
So
I mean, it's a good tip.
and that what
I
an
suck
art.
at mouth
Oh
calls.
my God. So my wife bought me a mouth call. And I'm like, I was all excited. I was like, oh, this would be great. I'll put it in my car when I'm driving around. I'll practice. Holy crap.
Never
I
had
suck.
so much spit all over the front.
No, I'm like, what am I doing? Not that this should come as any surprise, because I'm pretty bad at just about everything I do.
There we go with the self-deprecation again.
It's just self-awareness is what it is.
Oh, okay.
But my God, is that difficult. So if you're out there and you can do that on the regular and be successful with it, kudos to you, because that is an art and that I am not good at.
No, it'd be very convenient if you could do it reliably.
Right. Right. And that's the other.
Let me try
portion.
this 15 times. You get one that kind of sounds like a turkey.
That's
That
not
doesn't
going to
help.
jive in the turkey world for the.
Oh, for sure. Like jive turkeys.
Jive turkey.
Got it. Word. Yeah, to the mouth call thing. I've tried it. I've gotten okay at one point, like 1 year. But for whatever reason, like I could do it at home. I could do it in my truck. When I go out in the field, I froze. I was so afraid of sounding
Right.
like a wounded creature, some sort of just
Right.
like just.
Brought the coyotes in.
I was gonna scare everything out of the woods.
Yeah.
That like I wasn't comfortable doing it, and I think it all comes with experience. I mean, I can't whistle. For crying out! No, I can't whistle. I mean, my whistle, I'll maybe a tiny little bit,
All right. Well,
and that's only come about in the last 5 years that I can kind of whistle. Like, I'm not going to say it. I know what you like. I'm not so good with the mouth stuff.
Luke's on.
Maybe it's the extra long tongue.
Sweet.
You wouldn't know anything about that. Others might. And it's maybe of the female person. Wow. We got to be careful.
Scott's going in a 10-second mute timeout.
I'm fogging up here. Anyhow.
No, the mouth calls are tough, and I applaud anybody that can do it effectively. And I think it's an extremely important tactic when you're going to be, reaping or running and gunning, scoot and shoot, whatever you want to call it, because you got to be hands free. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know there's been some stuff out there. I think I had one time that attached to the bottom of your shotgun, like a strap and like a finger string pull. So if you're sitting there back to a tree,
It's like almost
you just
like a
real
little box
slowly,
call.
Yeah, like
Kind
a
of.
push button thing.
Yeah.
right. And it was okay.
Right.
I can't remember who made it. I think it was Primos. I'm going to say it was Primos that made it. I don't think it was a Bone Collector thing. Well, I think they were partnered too for a while, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I wish I always, every turkey season, like next year, man, I'm gonna start practicing next week, or I'm gonna start practicing a month from now. I'm gonna do it. No, it doesn't happen. Like, I've gotten really good with spending the money on good pot calls and box calls.
Well, and even to that point where, okay, my brother does all the calling for me.
Yeah.
So, as soon as the season is over, I'm like, I'm gonna go get one, practice, work on it. And I still don't even own one, because it just gets put on the back burner, because then you're focusing on other things. Mm-hmm. Weather's getting nice now. Your schedule's getting full of barbecues and whatnot, getting the land ready, doing scouting for archery, right? So I still do not have a pot. I don't.
But even those, you got to practice a little bit,
Right.
before the
And
season, because
that's
otherwise
what
you
I'm
get
saying.
out there, it's like, oh god, don't
Right.
miss this people. It just goes, it's like, well, sorry, Scott.
Stepped on one.
There goes everything that was around us. Next
Right.
time, no, I'll get it right next time.
But there's something to be said about a good call, like a custom call, something
A
that's
good
made
stick.
by, not something store bought. You find the guys, without naming names in that, because there's so many. I don't want to name one or two names and then leave out a ton of other makers out there. There's a lot of really good ones out there, and when you get a good one, man, it's unbelievable.
The difference.
The difference in how the ease and how easy it is to use. You buy these cheap slate calls and or glass
Right.
calls at Fleet Farm or Cabela's or whatever. Yeah, I mean, those are the ones I think you need a little practice with, just because I mean, I think you need practice with all of them. But those, like, if you do something just a little bit wrong, like you said, then it just sounds wonky. You could just pick it up, right, in your basement and just go, and you're just money. But when you're in the field and you got that bird and you're trying to bring him in, and then all of a sudden you're like, why is this not? Why I can't get it to strike right, or or if you got a box call, all of a sudden it just sounds real screechy, and that you're like, this bird's like,
right.
Again, we're giving these birds a lot of credit. I mean, their heads are this big, right? So how big is that brain inside there? But with that said, that brain doesn't need to process a lot of different things. It needs to process food, sex, and survival.
Right.
That's it. I mean, finding a tree to roost in every night, mating, and food. I mean, what else is there really for a turkey?
I'm going to start calling you a turkey, Luke.
Kind of described Luke.
Poor Luke. Poor Luke didn't even get a spot on the first first promo I had this week. But I got you in the second one.
Thank you.
That's
so profound. I mean, a few words.
Money. Absolutely money.
I'm a big turkey.
All right. I would prefer the few words.
Okay.
So, anyhow, to that point, at what point did you figure that out? The difference between your store-bought call and getting a custom-made one?
Just spending the money, like spending the money on a good call. And that's it, really.
Yeah.
Well, you
It's
were
like-
at that one show. I don't know where it was, with Madison or something, but you were able to kind of
Yeah, right.
see it like in person and just
Yeah,
order
that
something
was
or-
back in Madison and that the first time. And I'm like, this is so much easier to use. And it sounds way more realistic. And you spend a little bit of time using it, and you can work those different sounds, instead of just yelps. You can really hone in and get those keys and purrs and clucks and things like that way easier. I mean, you can grab a slate call from Fleet Farm and you can yelp away in that. And sometimes that's all you need, right? Sometimes that's all you need. Sometimes it takes very little. Other times there's a lot of finesse involved. And we've all seen that before, where you get birds that are hung up for whatever reason. And like I said, so 15 years of doing this, kind of, I would say, a late bloomer in terms of my hunting career, and with whitetails and other things like that, my outdoors, like taking up turkey only 15 years ago, at the age of 32, 33 years old. Don't do the math, people, please. It's an evolution, just like anything else. And I have mad respect for the diehard turkey hunters.
Yeah.
We're kind of joking around a little bit, and I'm not trying to downplay turkey hunting and the art of calling and things like that by any means.
We've established how important it is.
Because in those years, there's plenty of years where I've come up short and not gotten it done. And in fact, it took us quite a few years not getting a bird, and then finally being able to get a Jake in, because we were self-taught.
Right.
Like, we weren't even watching, old DVDs or videos and that. Like, we just all right, we're going to grab a couple cheap decoys and we're going to go out there and just give it a shot. And we did this for several years. Like, we get ourselves really camoed up, and then we probably moved too much. Obviously we overcalled. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Like, that was by far the biggest mistake we made, was overcalling. And I think that's a a common mistake that a lot of hunters make, a lot of turkey hunters make, is overcalling. Inexperienced ones, anyways. But it was trial and error, and that's when we got that first bird. That was very, very rewarding because we didn't have a mentor. We didn't. I mean, this was even like before the heyday of like, you know, being a lot of social media and YouTube stuff. I mean, now we're just like, you just type in turkey in YouTube and
Oh God,
there's just a gazillion different things out there, which is great. But we just went about it a different way, and it was fun. I mean, dude, how fired up were we? When first Jake we killed was.
It was just exciting to see a turkey in front of us that you could actually shoot.
Right.
Because it wasn't until it was at least the 4th year.
Yeah, I think
I
it was
before we finally got one where you could even shoot it, and it's like, it's a Jake. Who cares?
right.
Just shoot it.
It's a legal bird.
It's coming right for us.
We can't go home again and be like, well,
Right.
we sat out in the woods a foot apart from each other for 3 days, and Scott slept a lot.
Covered in ticks.
Like, got all the ticks to stay away from me, and that's all right.
Oh, that talk about, you want to talk about mistakes, not preparing yourself for sitting on the ground in the spring. Like, and then it was a few years in, and then all of a sudden you started using permethrin or.
Yeah, the permethrin strain. Yeah, I was sitting right next to you, and you were just like, they were crawling up your leg, they're crawling up your sleeve. You got them on you. You're like, at night, you still have them coming out of places. It's like,
Coming out of places.
I was
places.
right next to you for the entire day.
I think I came up to you one time. I was like, I gotta run over there. I'm gonna use the facilities of the woods. And I came back over like, Houston, we got a problem. He's like, what happened? Like, did you not make it? I was like, no, I made it. It was the wipe. What do you mean? Like, I felt something back there. Like, Mike, you have to look. I said, I don't want to look. Like, you gotta look. What is this? What is this? I mean, it was on my cheek, right? To be fair, it was just
It's clear as day right now. I'm picturing it. There's Scott in the middle of the woods, like, just look.
Look, what is it?
Is it?
And you're like, yep. I'm like, well, do something. He's like, I don't know. It's buried. It's in there too deep. Nothing I can do about it here. I ain't got a tweezer.
You're a goner. You're a goner.
So I was like, but it was actually our last day, and I was going home, and then I'm like doing the mirror thing, and what a freaking mess.
Try the match head.
No, I haven't done that since we were like, since Dad did that.
Right.
Putting matches out on our head. Trying to kill Tim. No, he didn't do it like that. It was after he got him out. Then he'd kill him with the match. That's what it was.
I don't know.
All these things. Oh, you put this on, you put that on it. No, you get it out, you pull it out with the tweezers or one of those tick removers, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, then kill it, flush it down the toilet or, whatever. There's no magic. Oh, nail polish. We've all heard all the different things.
Yeah.
It's all crap. And not to downplay like deer ticks and Lyme's disease. We all know.
Terrible.
I think everybody knows somebody that's had it to an extent. And if you do think it's a deer tick, and I mean,
early detection is key.
Exactly. Not to laugh, but I know you're 100% right. Like, that is like, don't mess around with it, because Lyme's disease, if you catch it early enough and you get on antibiotics really quick, or fairly quick, at least anyways, it can be a game changer for sure. But you let it go and let that just kind of fester in your body. Yeah, I feel terrible for anybody who has to deal with that. So ticks are no joke. I mean, back in the day, like when we were kids and stuff, wood ticks, that was like the big thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they carry different things too, but it was really never like, oh, you got a tick, Dad pulls it off you or 6 of them or whatever. And
running right back into wherever the hell it
right,
was.
the same long grass. Like, oh, tuck your pants into your socks and you'll be fine. Yep. But when you're sitting on the ground all day in the spring, and you're talking now, these ticks are like nymph.
Right.
They're super small too. So to even try to determine what's a deer tick versus what's a wood tick,
Forget about it.
it's really difficult. So that one year, Mike's like, he sprayed all of his turkey clothes down in permethrin. So it was kind of an experiment. I didn't. And we're sitting right next to each other on the ground in our turkey chairs. And I'm like, I am literally just pulling ticks off. I'm like, oh, there's another one. I mean, just in one morning sit, it wasn't like 36 or something like that. I had 36 of them, and you had not a single one. And I was like, that's it. I'm sold.
Right.
100% sold.
Yeah.
Well, it works too. It's not like you got to soak the stuff down. I mean, you get it so it's wet, but I've sprayed it on I started out, I had cheaper stuff, but I sprayed it on all the First Light wool stuff. I try not to spray too much, but I mean, it lasts the full year, and sometimes even the next year, I forget, but it's still.
I mean, I think they say
issues,
I don't think they say it lasts that long, but I mean, I think
No, it's
because they're marketing, they want you to continue to reapply it so that you use that whole can up and buy another one.
and if you're constantly walking through water or going through stuff, I mean, it'll wear out fast. And if you just go up and sit down for 2 days in a blind,
Yeah. You definitely don't want to get it on your skin, though. I mean, that's one of those things where you spray it outside, hanging on the line. You know, you don't want the wind blowing in your face while you're spraying it on. Let it dry. And you're really only spraying on the outside. You don't have to, like, turn your stuff inside out or anything. I'll hit my boots or shoes or whatever, hiking, especially for turkey hunting. I'm not usually wearing rubber boots or anything like that. Spray those down, let them dry, and it is like
It's a game changer.
it really is.
that's
But
not much. It's like you get that big giant bottle at Dick's or something. It's like $15. I mean,
Yeah, it'll last you a
lasted
while.
for like 3 years of
yeah,
spray.
right. I mean, it's absolutely 100% worth it. I know there's some clothing lines out there too that have that kind of built in, like this tick barrier.
Yeah.
There's some like turkey camo out there and stuff. I mean, if you want to spend the money on that, or
Just get the spray. That's easy peasy.
well, whatever your price points have.
So it took you guys a while to get your first turkey, get the monkey off the back, as it were. But through our biggest failures in life, we end up finding our best success, right? So you take a lot from each time that you don't fill a tag, right? Or you learn, after the fact, oh yeah, we were overcalling, we were doing this wrong or whatever, to the point now where I feel like it's, beneficial for me because I already have a wealth of knowledge every time we go out that I get to rely on, and you guys show me and teach me and what have you. But how did you guys dial that in, right? Like figure out, was it just simply researching? Was it asking? Was it just trial and error?
Well, I was you would watch a lot of videos every year. We kind of try one new thing or something, and kind of like you said, just kind of slowly fine tune it, and then you realize, well, geez, we shouldn't have been doing that for the last 3 years. So, all right, well, let's not do that. And then you're kind of trying to find a spot. And that was the other thing was we, for a while, we just went out there and hoped for the best. It's like, well, we saw turkeys here when we were deer hunting, so this must be a good spot,
Right.
It never was, but sometimes you'd see one off or hear one off in the distance, but now that goes back to how well do you call? Is it going to come in from that far away? And now you really got to call it properly in order for it to come in that far. So,
No, yeah, absolutely. Or as I always like to say, I see the most deer when I'm turkey hunting, right?
Oh, my
Versus
God.
when I'm actually deer hunting.
or when we see turkeys and then the deer come running in and scare.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they come back again and do it again.
Yeah.
Well, play
That was-
intercept for sure. I guess my answer to that question, I would agree with Mike that like after some time, yeah, you start watching stuff, but in the content that we were watching at that time wasn't very educational, other than you're just watching other people be successful,
Right.
killing birds, right? There wasn't tactics and things like that. But you learn, you pick up things just by watching other people though too. I think probably the biggest contributing factor to starting to have regular success was just trial and error and learning from your mistakes. And to me, that's probably the most rewarding part of my experience with turkey hunting is that we did it, one would say maybe the hard way or the old school way, or,
Right.
just figuring it out, learning from our mistakes, learning from the experiences we had, the encounters we had. Like, I mean, literally right after we'd have maybe an encounter and we weren't successful, him and I would sit there and go back and forth talking about what we did or didn't do,
Right.
or how we could have done things differently. And I think that really says a lot about. It doesn't say anything about anything. What it does is, I think you have a bigger pride. You feel better. I think that kind of goes even just woodsmanship, things that you learn when you're deer hunting and stuff. That I don't know. Kind of losing my train of thought.
No,
here.
I know what you're saying.
My
Right?
brain's going faster than my mouth can here, but you know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
that
I did
to
that.
learn it
I
hard
did
way.
this.
Yeah.
It's and yeah, even when say if you had success right off the bat, I think you would almost look at it and be like, oh, this is easy. Anyone can do this, and it's not easy. It's not easy because for all the reasons that we've already listed, right? And then not to mention, going back to last year's turkey hunt, and have this big, beautiful tom come in, right? So I can't even see it. He's telling me to shoot. So there's all these different factors that will come into play on.
I'm just
any
looking
hunt.
through the camera viewfinder. I'm like,
Shoot him. He's right there. I don't see anything. But but that's hunting, right? If it wasn't that, it would be called killing. So yeah, it's certainly not on the level as whitetail, right?
right.
But there's definitely skill involved, and it can be a difficult animal to hunt, right? I mean, case in point, it took you guys years to hone your craft to the point where when I came out,
Don't call it a craft.
to hone your craft.
No,
But when I came out, it just made things so much easier for me, because you guys had gone through all these mistakes and you didn't put me through the trials and to that, I mean, that got me hooked then, because I don't know if I would have persevered as well as you guys did.
Tegan Tales says, you learn something new every year by making a mistake the year before. And Mike Mason says, being in the woods and teaching my son to hunt is the reward for me. Learning and making mistakes is the best way to go.
Absolutely. I think that's the point that
Yeah.
I'm not so eloquently trying to make.
yeah, I mean, I think that is 100% correct. And the enjoyment that I've had, I mean, and there's been frustration without a doubt, for sure. But when you start noticing and figuring things out, and nothing's ever guaranteed. Now, you said it's never easy. No, sometimes it is really easy. There is times where it just, everything lines
clicks.
up just right, and it's just a slam dunk. But then, what are the reasons that was so easy? Was it because of your scouting? Was it your setup? There's a lot of different variables there as to say, okay, well, that was really easy. When just like, boom, we got it done really, really quick. And other times you can have those seasons where you're grinding, where you think you're doing everything right.
Oh God.
And based on even some past experiences, you're like, no, this is what's worked for me. And the birds just hang up. You just can't get on them. They're just out of range, all these different things. So it's trying to piece all those things together like a puzzle and trying to figure out, okay, well, why was I successful this year? Why was I successful the year before that? Why wasn't I the year before that? And what's my struggle this year? Is it the season? You know, I mean, here in Wisconsin, as in a lot of states, we have seasons, right? So you have season A, B, C, D, E, F. The difference between hunting in the middle of April for turkeys versus the end of May, those birds are completely different animals almost in a lot of sense, based on the breeding, weather, pressure. I think pressure is probably one of the biggest things, especially if you're hunting public land. When these birds are getting called to constantly from this property, from that property, or when we were talking public land, all these different places, these birds are like,
They don't know where the hell to go.
no, I mean, and that's a lot of times they get a little bit quiet. We've also seen seasons too, and just in recent years where we know the birds are there, we've seen them, but they get really, really quiet. They're not responsive, not in the tree, not when they get down. They're not responsive in the evening to owl calls, nothing. And it's like, well, we're looking at our trail camera pictures and we're seeing, well, there's an uptick here right now of coyotes running around. There's an uptick here. We're getting more pictures of bobcats. Does that play any part in this? Because they're giving up, and again, how much credit do we give these birds? But survival is a big thing. So if they know that there's predators in the area, how vocal are they going to really want to be? Or does their drive to mate override and kind of just blind them, like we see a lot of times with whitetails, with bucks that are so driven on, like we've all seen it where a buck is just almost oblivious to anything else around because he's there with that hot doe. Like he doesn't know we're there. I've had it happen, and not to get off the turkey here real quick, but just to kind of give an example of how much the drive to mate is such a big factor, I think, in all these animals, right? So working down in the Milwaukee area, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, it was right around County Line Road, Bayside area. You guys heard this story before, but for those of you that haven't heard it, or maybe don't remember it, but I was working and I pulled off of County Line Road in like Bayside area. Again, I'm being very specific. Those of you who know the area know what I'm talking about, but I was eating my lunch, taking a quick 15-minute break to eat my lunch, and I see this doe come out of this gully. And I mean, these yards are wooded and that they're nice big properties and stuff. And it comes out and she's got her tongue hanging out, and this buck comes out, and then another buck comes out, and really nice. And I got it all on video at the time. This was with a cell phone. I'm trying to think what I had at that time.
A razor.
No, it was shortly after the razor. Maybe like the Droid one or something like that.
Sure,
nothing. An uptick for sure from the razor, but excuse me. Anyways, so I get out of my truck in that, and I'm watching this go on, and this doe comes up by this person's garage and beds down. This buck standing in the driveway, and I'm standing there, and I'm like within 30 yards, and he is completely. He might have known I was there, but for the most part, like he didn't care.
He didn't care.
He didn't care that I was there, and I was within 30 yards at tops. But that's that drive, right? That drive.
Yeah.
Because these deer are, I mean, in animals in general, like it's survival, it's mating, it's eating, it's sleeping and shitting,
Yeah.
What else is there really?
That's it.
So I kind of went off on a off track there, whatever. But
That's what we do
there's so
here.
many different contributing factors there. Again, talking about the predators and that. Can that be a reason why birds are quiet? And then the very next year, and we're not continuing to see the same coyotes or bobcats and that, and in the numbers that we were seeing. Now these birds are like super vocal, and like you slam your truck door and
Right.
they're gobbling away first thing in the morning. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, 15 years of doing this, I'm just about as clueless as I ever have been about what really drives these birds. And you know, sometimes it's just getting lucky, and you're using some of the things that you've learned over the years, past experiences, tactics you learned from other people, playing with different things. And, you know, at the end of the day, I don't know. What do you think, Mike?
Well, and over time you kind of accept the fact that, okay, I don't see them and they're not responding, but still know they're there from having cameras up early in the year and doing all that kind of stuff. You know that they're there. So, and to the point where, especially with turkeys too, it's like, okay, if you have cameras over here and you've seen them here and I'm not, but in order to get to there, you knew they came from here. So it's like you can still, it's kind of all up in the air. You still have a possibility. But yeah, it's not just like, well, because we would do that too, right? It's like, well, I saw turkeys come right here. That's where we're going to hunt.
Yeah.
Well, then they don't come there. You know, it's like
Right.
you didn't put, like, where did they come from? Where are they going to go
Right.
to? You know, you start to think a little bit farther ahead than just like, well, I got a picture of one right here. This is where we're going to go.
Right. I mean, but they also could have went behind,
Yeah.
you know, or you could have a camera up and never get a picture, but they were constantly there, just not in front of your camera. They were moving 20 yards, you know, to the south or
6 feet
whatever.
behind
where
the
your
tree,
camera-
they all
exactly.
back and forth.
That happens to be their path. I think when you're trying to, if you're going to hunt a specific property, you know, we've got a couple 100 acres we're working with, and we know the birds are there, but when they're not being vocal, you can't. It's harder to chase them too. You know, it's one thing for them to be hung up or they're not coming in a calling, and that, but if they're not even vocal,
Right.
how do you move in? What direction do you go? Is a completely different thing. Now, I mean, then you look at the other side of it where people are jumping from property to property, hunting public land, getting permission to get in on private property based on, hey, there's turkeys out in the field, knock on the door. Hey, you mind if I get out there and get after
See what I
one of
can
those
do,
birds out there? And I think, you know, what I've heard over the years, and I've never done that before, but I think a lot of farmers are pretty receptive to that if they don't have somebody, you know, leasing that property or whatever, you know,
Sure.
that they're pretty okay with you going after a turkey. And that's like I said, and a lot of those types of hunters that are doing that, you usually try to get those. They're scouting, so before the season starts, like, hey, I'm driving to work every day. I'm seeing birds out in this field. I got to go talk to this farmer or this landowner and see if I can get access out there.
Yeah.
You know, and then they drive down the road and then they see birds in this field. So I'm gonna, you know, and that gives you the opportunity to kind of, all right, it's not happening here. Now I'm gonna bump over to this land. I'm gonna bump over to this piece over here. I think that's a really, I mean, if you can get something set up like that,
Oh, that's
that would be like, I've never done it because we just hunted the properties that we hunt, and that.
Well,
But
we
we
got
have
the acreage available.
we have bumped from property to property,
Yeah.
or whatever, but not on that level. We're just kind of bouncing around, and then you spot a bird and that, and you getting in there and trying to sneak in, and you gotta, I mean, movement is everything with these birds. I mean, that is
they're so sight sensitive.
what you can get away with in terms of, you know, like obviously scent isn't an issue.
Nope.
And you know, being able, if you're sitting in a blind with a buddy, you know, you can talk a little bit and that quietly, that you wouldn't obviously do while you're deer hunting.
Right.
But then it's that sight, you know. It's incredible, like the littlest thing. But then, with that said, you shoot one, and you get the other ones that'll just come and start attacking your bird, and you can get out of the blind and start walking up, and to get within, 20 feet of them sometimes before they'll even take off. I'm like, that's what I'm saying. I don't know
How much credit to give?
these birds, like they can be so wily and just so stupid too at the same time. I don't know. Luke, what do we have I know we're about to take an intermission, but do we have any quick comments or questions or anything?
The last one, end of May turkeys are a different ball game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
So
couldn't agree more.
I know that we're at the midway point. I think we should, I just want to. There's one before I forget.
Okay, go ahead.
Because it's this new segment that
yeah.
we're gonna run, and it's called the Drew Stupid, or at the risk of sounding stupid, because I feel like I say that every episode. So I think we should just make it a segment.
Again,
At the
I always
risk
say
of
the
sounding
self-deprecation.
But when did you guys? And maybe we can. Let's do this.
Float it.
I'll ask the question,
Float it.
and you guys give me a response when we come back. The question is, when did you find out about slamming the truck door, and that being a good indicator as to where they roosted?
Okay.
All right,
I already know the answer, but
but
so guys, here's what we're gonna do. I'm just before we take this quick intermission here, and a little bit of advertising with our partners here. The second half here, we're gonna try something different here that we haven't done in like 3 years, and we have a phone line set up, and we've tested a little bit. You guys are going to be the guinea pigs. We think we got it honed in.
I think we're gonna be good.
I think we're going to be okay.
Or it's at the very least, it's gonna be half-assed.
It won't be. Maybe it will. I don't know. Why am I even poking the bear here? But if you like, we're going to be posting the number right after we come back from intermission here. Stick around during intermission to watch these ads that we got popping up. Or
Grab a drink.
Run to the fridge, grab another fridge brick.
Absolutely.
Pour yourself another cocktail. It is Thirsty Thursday, and it's Turkey Talking Thirsty Thursday. So
Best time of
stick
the year.
around, run to the bathroom, and we'll see you back here in about 6 minutes.
What is an eponym? A person after whom a discovery, invention, or place is named or thought to be named. There are very few eponyms in the hunting industry. A product so popular and so functional, it becomes the act of the product. So how does something become an eponym? It's the best, hands down. What is an eponym?
And the second segment is brought to you by our friends at Stealth Outdoors. Stealth strips from Stealth Outdoors not only eliminate metal-to-metal clank, but they also improve tree stand silencing and concealment. Hunters who use stealth strips love stealth strips. So what are you waiting for? Go to stealthoutdoors.com. That's right, folks, stealthoutdoors.com. You know it, you love it, get on it. And by the way, folks, we have a very special promotion going on right now. If you go to stealthoutdoors.com and enter the discount code MWRR10, gets you 10% off everything in the store. MWRR10, stealthoutdoors.com.
All right, and we're back. Thank you guys for sticking around.
Welcome back. Yay.
Hopefully,
Just do a little wrap around.
yeah, there you go.
Little wrap around.
Cracked a new one. Oh, there we go. Producer Luke
Yes, sir.
cracked a fresh one. It is Thirsty Thursday. It is Thursday Turkey Talk.
Turkey Talk, 4th annual. Thank you guys for coming back. Now, as you will see on the bottom of your screen, we do have a phone number for you to call in. We encourage it. We love it. Please call in. Give us a call. Any question that you want other than the length of Scott's tongue. That being said, we ended segment 1, right, with a question. It was at the risk of sounding stupid. How did you guys know that slamming a truck door triggers the turkeys to call?
I didn't know.
What?
As a standard habit, you don't ever slam the car
Jesus.
door. Getting
Well,
out
right. So to that point, right? That's why I'm asking the question.
For me, it was, I think, I was very confident, like where I knew or whatever. Like I've known it now for quite a long time.
At least since I've been hunting.
I can't tell you exactly where I heard it or how I found out, but it was just one of those things where maybe you're on a forum or on a post or something like that, and somebody was talking about it, like, you know, like that, just the sound of like a tailgate slamming.
Right.
I would say probably even more so than a door. You know,
Sure.
in
Yeah,
modern vehicles, door slammings aren't that loud, but that sound is, it's just to startle the bird.
And it's effective.
It can be, yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of reasons. Oh, we're getting a call here.
Right. We are getting a phone call. But yeah, to that point though,
Call from.
I remember when you I think it was our second season out turkey hunting together, and you were like, yeah, slam the tailgate. I'm like, what? This goes against literally everything I've known about hunting at this point. And you're asking me to do this, and sure enough.
Are we connected?
Yes, go for it, caller.
Hey guys, Mike Mason.
Hey, Mike.
Mike, how's it
How's
going?
it going? You still in the Pac Northwest there,
Hey,
bud?
how's it going, you guys? How did you know I'd be the first one to ring you up?
I just had a sneaking suspicion, honestly. I knew this was an episode that you're looking for, probably as much as this guy sitting to my left here.
Right.
Look,
Yeah.
can you just notch up real quick on the Bluetooth there?
Thank you.
So hopefully you guys are hearing. I would love actually if somebody could comment and make sure that they can hear Mike through the broadcast.
Like we said, we're using you guys as guinea pigs.
Yeah, this is our first go around here.
All right, test 1, 2.
No, we can hear you loud and clear. We're just hoping everybody else can too. Mike, how the heck are you, man? Long time
I'm
listener?
doing well. Yes,
First
first time caller.
The first caller. So,
Well, hey, I just wanted to say, you guys have great information, always. And, turkey hunting is near and dear to my heart ever since I moved out here. And, we're getting in the swing of things. The birds are pretty similar, in the sense that, turkeys doing what turkeys do, as far as,
mhm.
overcalling and things like that, and how they react. But out here, we deal with some other factors. I mean, we're not near cornfields or soybean fields or anything like that. We're out in the middle of the wilderness. We're 25 miles from the nearest paved road.
Mike, real quick,
So
if you could, where are you? I mean, we know, but for the listeners or watchers here, where are you at?
I'm in Washington State, Vancouver, Washington, which is just north of Portland, Oregon,
Right.
and on the west side of the Cascade Mountain Range.
Okay. And what variety of turkey are you hunting?
Right.
The area that I'm in is all Merrimans.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, eastern turkeys are on the west side of the state, in the higher alpine areas, but Merrimans are in the high desert area, the break from mountain terrain into lowlands and plateaus.
Okay.
Awesome.
So we still have an opportunity to come out there and hunt with you, right?
Oh, absolutely. And, I wanted to talk to you guys because the area, one of the things that we deal with out here is wildfire. And the area that we had hunted for the last 3 years was totally scorched right after the season last year. So it burned everything from a meter up, and it torched it all out. So interestingly enough, because it was so early in the season, the regrowth happened rather quickly, and I was just in that area 2 weeks ago. So there's a lot of regrowth, but it takes a year or two for the birds to kind of move back in the area.
Sure.
You might get a few, but their home grounds have been completely burned out. So we had to move to a new area,
Okay.
and like you were talking about earlier about scouting, yeah, that was a big deal for us this year because we were 50 miles from where we were before, so we had to relearn the ground.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna talk apples to apples, I don't think it's even the same thing here. It's apples to oranges compared to the terrain that you're hunting out there versus what we have here in the Midwest for the most part, where it's, we have ridges and we have different landscapes and stuff, but you're hunting big hills. You're hunting mountains, ranges, in a lot of cases. Is that correct?
Well, yes and no. It's similar in the fact that we're still hunting the breaks. You're looking for open area, some grassland, where it meets up with the oak and the fir trees.
Okay.
And the birds out here are the high oak trees is where a lot of them, that's their feeding areas, and they'll roost in the tall pines. But they stick to that break area where it breaks from a heavy pine timber to oak. You're getting lower in elevation, and then those open spaces, those grassy spaces.
Okay.
So pretty similar. You have a field, and you hunt the edge of the field.
Sure.
I tell you, man, we gotta make that happen, because that would be
Yeah,
that would be amazing.
I would
get out there
love
and
to have
hunt
you
with
guys out. This last scouting trip, we counted two. We came across two different groups of birds. One like 10 or 15 in one group that we kicked up, and then we got calls back and some good gobbles back, and from another group, and I figured there was about another 15 or 20 in that group. So I think we're right on them this year. My son's first year to hunt, so he's super excited.
Oh, that's awesome to be able to share that with
Yeah.
them. Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Fun fact: my cousin lives in Vancouver, Washington, so we go out there. We got a place to stay.
Well,
all right. Does he hunt?
I don't know. He's a border patrol agent, so he hunts certain things.
Yeah, sure. Well, if he hunts, we got more than enough room out by us. The beautiful thing about Washington State is it's a third of its public land.
Oh, wow.
okay.
Very, very,
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great opportunity. I'm looking forward to it. We got to make it happen. Mike.
All right, very good, guys. Hey,
Really-
thanks for the great show and all the great information, and all the best to you and yours back there, and thanks for a great show. Appreciate it.
Same to you, bud.
Thanks, Mike.
yeah, Mike, thanks for tuning in.
Always really appreciate, the support that we get from Mike. He's such a great guy.
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
And-
I mean, yeah, we appreciate all of our followers.
Yeah, definitely. Would love to hear from more of you.
Yeah. If
Don't
anybody else
hesitate.
wants to chime in,
Give
feel
us a
free.
call.
Where were we at right before?
Tailgate Slam, I think. I don't know if we were
Yeah, we
still
were
on.
there.
And there was this.
There's a tailgate slam story in the chat.
Okay.
okay.
Let's hear it.
Bob Zarda had a couple behind the shop today gobbling. He banged on the hood of the plow truck, and that got them going.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's a startle is what it is. I mean, and there's a lot of different things that you can do to get toms to gobble. I mean, there's crow calls, there's the owls. I mean, there's all these different things. Mike has actually gotten pretty good with barred owl.
Yeah, we had pretty good use out of the all call. We never really tried that crow. That just
It
was just a cheap thing. It came free with something.
Yeah.
It's like
I'm sure there's
giant
probably
ball,
better
you're like-
ones out there, maybe.
it's
But
like a kazoo. It doesn't really sound like so that we don't even bother using. But no, the all calls that's worked lots of times.
So how does that go again? It's
Who cooks for you? Who cooks for you too?
yeah, that's
That's exactly how they say it in the back of the
Yeah, that's the cadence. But there's a little bit of like a R, kind of a rat, like a rolling R that kind of starts it out, I believe is how it's supposed to go. I mean, yeah, you can't just yell who cooks for who cooks for you too, and that. I mean,
Sorry,
but you
it
never
was,
know.
It was who cooks for you?
Not that kind of rolling R.
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe somebody will call in and demonstrate for us.
yeah. I tell you what, if you do that, we might just have a T-shirt for you or something.
If somebody does that, yeah, we'll send them a T-shirt for sure.
Yeah,
100%.
give us an owl call on the phone.
Give us your best owl call
That'd be fantastic.
or the phone right now, and we will send you a T-shirt. Absolutely.
Mike, we're not sending it to you. The shipping on that is worth more than the shirt.
Well, Mike will be back here, I'm sure,
Yeah,
back in these parts
absolutely.
here soon.
He was just down in Austin.
Yeah, he was in path of totality for the solar eclipse.
Right? How cool is that?
Very cool. I mean, I know a lot of people are like, oh.
Well, there's plenty of that. I think with anything that goes on and in the world today, you just get bombarded with the news and social media to the point where you're like, let's just get over it.
Yeah, I pulled
But
the kiddo out of school on
But the event
on Monday.
itself,
Yeah, it was cool.
It was very cool. It was neat. I was out and about that day for work, and like, it actually, it took me a minute to wonder or to realize what was going on, because I'm driving along. I'm like, man, it's like it's getting cloudy or something, but there's no clouds.
right. It
It was
was,
kind of eerie.
and I mean, here in Wisconsin, we only had 91% coverage.
Right.
Right.
So it wasn't like,
But like, I think it would have been I noticed a difference for sure. And we were out there from 12:30 until 3:00 at the
Okay.
park, Spencer and I, and then Sarah stopped out there right close to the full 91% coverage. That way, it here in Wisconsin, and it was a bluebird sky,
Right.
bright sunny day. But what you noticed is that you didn't have to wear sunglasses, but it
Right.
felt like you had sunglasses on.
Right.
That's about the level of darkness it was. It was like, wow, I should be squinting right now without sunglasses on.
It
It was because it was such a bright, clear day here in southeast Wisconsin. And I'm like, no, it's like everything was just, it didn't get dark by any means.
no, it was like a tint.
Yeah,
it
it
was
was like a filter over your eyes. It was
bizarre.
cool though. It was
It
cool.
kind of
We
neat.
got a volunteer to do call in for a call, but they want a sweatshirt if they do it.
Who is this?
Guess who that is?
Ooh.
Summer Ortman.
I tell you what,
If she calls in right
if she
now,
calls in right now and does an owl call,
she's got
with
it.
the cadence has to be right though.
Just her best effort.
And also, Mike Mason said he went for the eclipse if his wife is listening.
Okay.
Oh, that's okay. I didn't know why he was down there, but yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. That's why. And why not? You know,
Oh, yeah,
Austin's a cool
absolutely.
city.
Yeah.
A lot of fun things to do there.
Food trucks.
He said it was complete darkness for 4 minutes.
That's pretty. That is pretty cool.
Yeah, I wonder how that like affected, just wildlife for that little bit. I mean, they say a lot of times when you're in totality, that the birds stop chirping and things like that. Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
Agreed.
all right, so Summer calling.
Come on, Summer. No. Pick up the phone.
Well, there goes your sweatshirt, honey.
I don't want to hear about it anymore.
All right, so I'm going to propose a question here to you guys. I'm going to start with you, Mike. What is your favorite thing about turkey hunting? What is it that you love most about turkey hunting? And whatever.
I think it's kind of the fact that you're super involved in it, but at the same time, because it kind of reminds me of like going goose hunting, where you're there, you don't have to necessarily be totally by yourself, not making a sound, and just sitting there and staring off and waiting for something. You can talk kind of quietly, but you're with one or two other people, and everybody's sharing in it. It's not just you.
Right.
Where the hell are the turkeys? It's not just you getting mad at yourself. Like sometimes, deer hunting, you get frustrated. Sometimes you're like, well,
Right.
but no, it's nice because you can share with people, and yeah, it's backed off a little bit. Other than movement, like you said, you can still do normal things and enjoy being out there for the full day when maybe you don't see a lot.
Right.
Because we've had that already.
Yeah,
I mean, and what you're doing is you're speaking in terms of like hunting in a blind with a buddy, somebody filming and,
Yeah.
or you're trying to double up kind of a thing. I mean, and obviously there's a lot of guys that hunt solo and without a blind and, different tactics and stuff. But for a lot of times, and even when it's you and I, if we're not getting it done in the blind, yeah, that's when we get mobile and stuff.
yeah,
But
yeah. You have options
right,
to try
You're
different
never-
things. You're not
yeah.
tied to that stand. Like, well, this is where I am. If I get up now, I might as well just, I can't move anymore to a different spot because then I'll just shake everything loose.
Right.
That's around you. So I got to just sit here for the rest of the night then.
Sure.
I would have to say, so the first year I went out, I wasn't turkey hunting. I was just filming for you. The one that was a F-bomb laden film session because of how I just, to put it into context, I was not expecting this level of excitement, right?
For hunting a turkey, right?
We get into the blind, right, and setting up the camera and what have you. And then that first call, and to actually feel it,
The response.
to feel it in your chest, it made me jump. And to this day, the response gets me to jump pretty much every damn time. And that shake, the adrenaline rush of like, okay, this is happening. And then to see it play out, right? where it's following. They are literally following the playbook of, calling, responding, and now they see the decoys and they're coming in. Super exciting. And I was hooked like instantly. Like this is what I want to do. Almost to the point that I'm ashamed that I haven't, gotten
Been
better
doing
at-
it longer.
Right, doing it longer, gotten better. Calling my own, that kind of a thing. And then also to Mike's point, I do really appreciate that. In a lot of instances, the weather's a little bit better. You're not. Yeah, it might not always be perfect, but you're not dealing with sub-zero or sub-freezing temperatures in a lot of cases. Have the ability to talk a little bit and just have that camaraderie that reminds me of so many hunts in the past.
Right. Turkey camp can be very much like deer camp for sure.
It's a bit more exhausting, right? You got more daylight, so you're out there to a fault, probably too long in some cases.
Yeah.
Where there's been plenty of times where we probably should have gotten out of the blind sooner, taking a break. But what was that, 2-3 years ago?
It was longer than that even. But
I feel
We
like
spent an
I feel like
entire day.
everything's like 2-3 years ago, right?
Oh, right.
And you're like, holy shit, I'm 44. That's impossible.
everything was 2-3 years ago.
But yeah, there was one year where me and Mike were hunting. Scott was filming for us, and Scott's like, "Well, I think I'm gonna go in for lunch." And me and Mike hadn't seen anything up to that. We saw one Jake, I think it was, that was like running by. I'm like, I don't know.
Oh, we had a Tom earlier in the morning that was hung up over
That's
on
right.
that fence line.
Oh my God, that thing was so stubborn.
Yeah.
And he was
I think the fence line was screwing him up.
He was a big boy,
He didn't know how to cross that fence line the way properly. Like there was plenty of opportunity for him to, but he was like, do I go around or do I jump?
Right.
It was an old fence, barbed wire fence line.
So we hung out, we stayed. You went in, I think you ate, caught a nap,
I wasn't gone that long. I
came back out. I think you brought some snacks, which was awesome
Yep.
for us. Mm-hmm. Some sandwiches or what have you, but
Sammy's.
that was a
We
long.
sat there staring at that one
Oh
spot.
my
not
God,
seeing a
that
single-
one spot. It was a long ass day of on a little tripod seat,
triangle
hunched
seat
over.
shoved up in
So
there
where-
after a couple hours.
When you get back to camp, you're like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm done. Like I'm spent. I'm tired. And you're like, all right, let's get a beer.
Let's go to the bar.
Let's go to the bar.
Actually, I think a question I'd pose to anybody watching right now: do you ever do all day sits, or do you hunt X amount of hours in the morning and get back out after it in the evening? I'd be curious to find out like how other turkey
be
hunters,
curious, too.
because we've had success. That maybe not always the best success, but we've had plenty of encounters and close calls too. Around noon,
Right.
but is the calling going on? Are you getting gobbles? No, you're not. But you get these random encounters, and it's not a time like I like to call at that time because you don't hear any. It's not a time of the day that you normally hear calling.
But midday is a good time for the hens to be out there trying to find their nest.
Oh yeah, going back to the nest and coming off. They have to eat in that too. So yeah, I would be curious if anybody wants to chime in on how much time do you spend in the morning and the afternoon, and then do you ever are you out there all day? Whether you're sitting in a blind all day or you're getting after it where you're trying to, locate the birds yourself in kind of a run and gun type situation.
Well, I think that depends too, because if you're like before, if you're a guy where, I drive past these fields every day to work back and forth to work, and I ask this guy if I can hunt there, and if I ask that guy if I can do it there, if you can do that and be like, okay, well, I'm just going to Monday, or what does it start? Wednesday, I'm going to go out and just sit here. And by the time the sun's up, I'm going to go to work, or I'm going to leave. And maybe I'll come back at night. And you can do that throughout the week because it's right there. It kind of is almost like deer hunting too. It's like, well, when we go turkey hunting, we go up to the land where we turkey hunt, and you're there, and that's it. So you have that, 2.5 days, whatever you're doing that year. So you kind of feel like, well, I can't just go out there for 2 hours and then come back in, even though, more or less that makes sense. But you gotta
I think we've
be up
done
there.
it both
Otherwise,
ways.
you've kind of, personally, I mean, you feel like, well, I'm here.
I got to get it
what
done.
good does it do if I'm just sitting in the bunkhouse watching TV?
Right.
Someone
you're
answered
shooting, you're
the
not out
question.
there.
Yeah.
We're going to answer here. Hunt the mornings, if nothing moving, then walk to another ridge by noon. Go back to camp for food. Go back out and call for gobblers for 1 to 4 hours, then back to camp.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that's probably a good approach, right? Give yourself
Well, it's less exhausting for sure.
because
But there's always that. I mean, because of those years, especially early on, where we would just do sun up, like before sun up till sundown. And it would be exhausting, right?
Yeah.
But we would have encounters
Right.
middle of the day. So because of that, then you're like,
It entices you.
you're thinking like, oh, this is like hunting the rut. You just got to be out here all day. You never know
Right.
when it's going to happen. And again, we're not calling during the middle of the day.
No.
When do you ever hear at 1 o'clock in the afternoon a turkey gobble or a hen yell? I mean, I guess I'm sure it probably happens from time to time. I don't know. We never hear that.
Certainly not.
You get to a little
consistently.
bit later on in the afternoon, like maybe mid-afternoon,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, a couple turkeys, a couple
Tide
times start
changes.
gobbling
Yeah.
or whatever. I don't know. I don't like those all-day sits. Like, I'd rather just be out there, let's say maybe till like 10 o'clock, and then get back out, and at least take a 4-hour break or so before you get back out there.
When is this is always it's difficult for me to determine when are we going to call sitting and when are we going to start to get after them?
Right. That's the other thing too.
That is, I will just
the
hem
first-
and haw.
Well, right. I think it depends on how many days you have. As it gets, you get a few days into it, and you're not having any success, then it's like it's time to go ahead and start moving.
New comment, new first-time listener, Derek Went.
Hey, Derek.
He sits the same blind for an hour before sunup and then 2 hours before dark.
Okay.
Right. Say that again.
He sits the same blind from an hour before sunup and then 2 hours before dark.
An hour before sunup.
Yeah.
And then what time you getting out?
2 hours before dark.
I'm assuming he gets out at a certain point and then gets
Goes
back
for
in
2
2 hours.
before dark.
But it's like, right, an hour before sunup and then till what time?
Yeah, Derek, if you could just comment quick,
I mean,
give us a little clarification on that. But I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, gets a little lost in the translation sometimes, but definitely appreciate you tuning in and commenting. That's spectacular.
Absolutely.
It reads like he's there from an hour before sunup until 2 hours before dark. So all the live long day, but 2 hours before dark, he calls it.
Okay.
All right, well.
Obviously he's had success doing so.
So last year for me, I got it done in
30 minutes.
not barely, right? The day before, I was setting up a blind the afternoon before, and I was out there a little bit longer than I wanted to, but I did have the gun out there. And in that time, right as I was kind of finishing up, the spot where I was kind of set up, where I figured these birds were roosting, they came in, and they were coming into the area, and they're gobbling like crazy, getting ready to head up to roost. I'm like, man, I might be able to get this done right now. Or I could completely screw this whole thing up.
Right.
In that, I'm like, I know what this, this spot where these giant oaks are, where they're roosting in. I think the best thing I can do right now is just back out and start fresh first thing in the morning, because they're going to roost here. And it was the best decision I made. And it might have worked out that night. But I'm like, I'm just going to come back under the cover of darkness and get here. I gave 3 little tree yelps while they were still in the tree. And these toms went ballistic.
Yeah.
Still in the tree. And then I just stopped right there. It wasn't like about 15 minutes later, and I gave one or two more quick little yelps. Just to remind them of where I was.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, now I'm just going to listen for the fly down. I never even heard the fly down. And I was on top of these birds. And all of a sudden, here comes a tom coming right across the top of the ridge. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This is insane. I mean, this is what you dream of. This is what it's all about. Yeah. And boom, 6:30 in the morning, I think, whatever. I mean, it was light. And I called you like 10 minutes later. I was like, yeah, I know you're going to come up here for the next 3 days here to film for me. But
It's
got
done.
it done.
Still want to come up? I got all kinds of stuff to do here.
Derek yes, he sits in the blind the whole time. He gets a turkey every year.
Okay.
So it's working for him. And then also, got a question. Do you guys change tactics from gun and bow hunting?
Oh.
In terms of like for turkey hunting, read it one
I
more
would
time.
assume so.
Do you change tactics?
Oh, okay. Versus if you're using a gun or archery equipment. Well, yeah, I think for sure you're talking almost 2 different games there altogether, because if you're using a bow and you're trying to run and gun, like that's next level, because there's the movement.
Yeah, that's Brad Werwinski type.
Yes.
Hunting.
Yeah, that's Brad. That's
Using a longbow on top of it.
that's Tallahassee. That is 100%
right.
Tallahassee right there.
Still need to paint the black 3 on his truck.
I mean, would you agree?
I would think so. I mean, I never tried it yet. It would be nice though. I mean, it seems like it'd be just that kind of like bow hunting versus gun hunting for deer. I mean, it's a whole different thing, I would imagine.
The satisfaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what are you waiting for?
Until we see them regularly. I'm still in the phase where it's like, if I see one, I gotta be able to make sure I get it.
I feel like we're like,
It's getting there. But.
yeah, we're pretty dialed in on where they are and their habits and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to go to the archery versus gun, archery is definitely next level. I mean, we had Jason on the show a couple weeks ago on that. He's been very, very proficient using his bow and killing turkeys with those dirt naps.
Dirt naps, absolute Mr. Dirt Nap.
Absolutely. Because you got movement there.
Mm-hmm.
On another level that you're going to have with a shotgun, where you're using a shooting stick, you're on out of. I mean, I think a lot of guys who are successful with using archery equipment are hunting out of a blind of some sort,
Right.
because it's really hard to get away with that movement. I'm not saying that there aren't really good archers
Unless
and
you're
really
Brad
good turkey
Werwinski.
hunters. Brad's gotten it done, but I mean, you could ask him too, and he'll tell you the same thing. It's really, really tough.
Right.
But if you can get it done, wow.
Super rewarding.
Absolutely, 100%.
I don't know if I would have got, like, if we were hunting archery last year, I wouldn't have got it done.
No, and that was actually probably one of the furthest birds away. Like we really do like to bring them in close.
Right.
We like, because we're usually always, not usually always, no, we are always filming these hunts, and we'd like to get them in close. And we've gotten some really cool footage from that. I mean, nothing beyond 30 yards. Even yours actually might have been just a hair, maybe 35. But I like to have them like within 15 to 20.
Oh yeah.
Is where like
that just
it's
happened.
way more intense. You know, they have them right on top of you like that.
That whole situation just happened so quickly from where we had the one that he's like, shoot it. I'm like, I don't see it. I mean, that was a big, beautiful Tom. Going back and looking at the footage of him, to the point where it was literally right outside of our blind and we could hear and feel it drumming, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's here to our producer away.
Not even.
Oh,
I mean, my God, from as close as all three of us are. I mean,
yeah, and you're thinking, do we try to make a move out the back window and try to get on it? But it's so close. It's, you're better off waiting in that instance and hoping that it loops around, and it didn't. And it was super deflating. So to the point where it was like, all right, well, if we get him to come back out, let's switch spots.
Yeah.
Now I'll have the right angle. And then as soon as I sat down, I'm thinking, my God, if one comes up now off the right, this is going to be a pain in the ass. What was it, 5 minutes later?
Not even
off the right. I'm like, God darn it.
He swings the gun
Trying
around
to get turned.
as he's going, the Tacticam's on it, and in one fluid motion, like he never even stopped. I just reached and I hit the power button as it was kind of swinging across my head. He's like trying to go like this. I reached up and I hit the power button because I knew like I wasn't going to be able to get the DSLR on it, not with that angle going out the side. And I tried to before I could even fully swing around. Bang!
Well, and what was funny about that is my shoulder was all jacked up. I had surgery in June, so this is before my surgery, and I was going to be using a shooting stick, right? And it was like
freehand that
adrenaline. Yeah, screw this shoulder. I don't care. I want that damn turkey. Get it out. I didn't even realize that you had it turned on.
Right.
And
it just boom. It was just like a quick
blasted it. And again, like, to that point, range wise, yeah, it was, yeah, you can definitely reach out and touch them. That's not a problem. But because of how quick it happened, there was no time to think about that. I was like, I need to get this done.
And this wasn't a strutting Tom. He wasn't just coming in strutting.
Running.
He was running. I mean, you could see his beard in that, but he was running up the ridge for whatever reason. In that, like he shot this running bird. Like that's not normally how it goes. Normally it's
that was not the playbook.
They come in, they're strutting all that. No, this was just a Tom. I mean, not like he wasn't booking it.
No.
But I mean, he was moving.
He came up the ridge, kind of looked at the decoys a little bit, and then that's when
almost spooked him
probably with the whole shit. Now it's to the right. Are you kidding me? Now I got to try to get out the side window. And that might have been what got him to move. He had to have picked up movement, and he was not booking it, but like, oh shit, I screwed up. And he did, because he's on my wall in the basement.
That's impressive.
Yeah, beautiful. Well,
a moving turkey.
A pretty good clip, I would say. That's that actually brings up a really good point. Like, at what point do decoys become detrimental to the hunt versus an advantage?
Well,
We've seen it, right?
We've tried a lot of cheap decoys over the years, starting with the
The
foam ones you get at Fleet Farm. Yeah. But yeah, that one year we had the really nice decoy.
the DSDs, yeah.
I mean, the turkeys just kept coming to it at that time. Granted, we hit a lucky time. I mean, there was a lot of turkeys that just happened to be walking by, basically. But I mean, they just kept coming after that decoy.
Yeah.
And now that we try to use a real fan on
Yeah.
a decoy, it's better than some of those just look like a paper plate that you put on the back of it.
That's orange.
Some of them
bright
are
orange
so
and,
bad.
yeah,
Why is
shiny.
it so orange?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the colors are off. The material is so shoddy.
They said to somebody in China, like, make us a turkey fan. What the hell? That was a turkey. What color is it? Well, it's a brownish. They're like, oh, here you fuckers go. Here's an orange paper plate. The slap on the back of that plastic.
The funky
Yes.
chicken had no impression on the turkey side.
Yeah,
the
no.
Because we
funky
had it out
chicken.
there. Same time we had the really nice decoy. It's like, well, here, I bought this.
Right.
Try- throw this out there.
What was
They're
the
all just
idea?
walking right past it like it's just a stick.
Yeah.
Like you might as well just.
Well, the idea, I believe, behind the funky chicken was that this was like a
Just a puny,
puny little,
supposed to.
turd of a turkey, like this easy to beat up on kind of thing. Like, has anybody had any success with the funky? Was the funky chicken, right? Or what was it called?
Yeah, the funky chicken.
Funky chicken.
Funky chicken. Just this little
Try-
skinny.
Gotta try something new. It was.
It kind of looks like one of those chickens that you squeeze and they just scream at you.
Yeah,
Yeah, kind
know,
of. It's just tall.
A little bit
and
bigger,
kinda skinny.
tall, skinny, and
yeah. They can sing a Disturbed song or something.
right. Yeah, I don't know. And, to that point, right? So when we were talking about technology and the advances in technology, going back to last week and the ethics behind it, are we kind of surprised at the lack, right? The lack of technology when it comes to turkey hunting, that there's really, I mean, like, yeah, we've seen the decoys that's motorized and it turns, and I mean that's nothing more than a piece of shit motor that's on that thing that, it's like a little remote control with a garage door opener on it, I mean, wouldn't you guys anticipate something at this point or something very soon to come out that's going to be the next biggest great thing for turkey hunting?
I mean, honestly, I don't know that business wise, I don't know that the money's there for that. I mean, there's, you don't deer. I mean, you have these, you could have a decent deer. You could have this gigantic deer, different habitats, all kinds of things. But I don't know that there's really the interest in furthering too much for turkey hunting. What do you make
think
money
that
on
that's all it is?
besides camouflage?
Well, sure. So,
What's the
so do we need like like an elven cloak that makes us look like a rock? That's a Lord of the Rings reference.
I think it's a Harry Potter thing, though, too.
That wasn't an elven cloak.
Right. That was the whatever the hell.
It was a whatever the hell cloak.
Yeah. No, I mean, I already feel like it's pretty, like the detail in the decoys, the DSD decoys in that have been phenomenal now for years in that. And then there's other companies out there making really super realistic. And you're talking like a single decoy with some of these, right? And I don't begrudge anybody. You want to spend the money on it, but if you want to spend $250 to $300 on a decoy,
You also better not shoot it.
well, you better not pepper that thing up. But like, again, at the end of the day, we're still talking about turkey, right? Like that's different strokes for different folks, right? But I don't know, spending that kind of money on decoys, I don't know, it's not for me.
Well,
Not
right.
not that level, you know, where I'm going to spend $300.
No, you know, and for even someone like me that, like, if I had to choose right now between whitetail and turkey, it would be turkey. And
And
that,
for me, it's whitetail,
right. No, and, you know,
and I love turkey.
And
hunting.
along that line, right, it's always the to each their own. But there is a very dedicated segment of hunters that have a passion for turkey,
Oh, 100%.
that it's not the size of the animal that makes the trophy. The trophy is what it means to you, right? Like that deer right there means a lot to me because it's the biggest one I shot.
Well,
You know, it's not necessarily because, I mean, Christ, I'd love to get an elk. That's not going to happen, but you know what I mean?
no, I mean,
Along those lines.
there's
yeah.
a lot of guys out there that are
my
absolutely
God.
super passionate, and they will travel to get all the different subspecies and things like that, you know, or working towards a grand slam. And that's great. I mean, there's guys out there that are amazing callers with mouth calls and that, and competitive, and that just as there's guys that are into super trophy, you know, whitetail hunting in that,
Right.
where they're only shooting anything over 160 plus inches or whatever. So you're always going to have different levels of passion in whatever it is
And budget.
that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Yeah, and budget too, for sure. I think, you know, it translates very well back into fishing too.
Oh my God.
You know, if you're going to
Holy
get into
cow.
muskie fishing, the amount of money that's involved with that, if you're going to become a competitive bass or walleye fisherman,
Right.
investing in boat, you know, to each their
It's
own.
wild.
But, yeah, for me, it's whitetails. But turkey's right there though. Like once spring's over and summer hits,
Yeah.
then my mindset is off.
No,
like
and-
it's already right into, you know, everything I can do to prepare for fall for whitetail. And I don't really think about turkey too much until I think maybe around January start, you know, mid to late January, the wheels start turning a little bit and it just kind of amps up. I mean, I don't know about you, Mike. Like, I mean, I think when we got into it, right, like it was something to get us out there.
Fill the gap.
I know there's, you know, if you're really passionate about walleye fishing, this is also the time that the walleyes are spawning. You want to get after the walleyes. But for us, we like being in the woods more. I mean, we definitely fish. We love to fish, but right. I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, that was something to do early in the season. You're still on the land. You know, again, you can do a couple things at the same time. You're kind of looking for different areas for deer hunting as well. But yeah, it's
Scouting,
the availability, the way we have our setup with the land. I mean, it's there. Why not try and get into it? And yeah, it's something to kind of break up the early spring, you know, very late winter kind of time frame. And yeah, it's a whole extra thing to kind of look up and get into, get the setup right, kind of plan out your time.
Yeah, I mean, there's been plenty of times where we've gotten it done, you know, really early, and then we're like, all right, well, now that we're here, let's set up some new stands or move stands and cut some shooting lanes and, you know, just spend some time out on the property, seeing if we can find any more sheds.
That one year we were basically still setting up the blind in order to hunt the next day. And then all of a sudden they all came in. We weren't even paying, you know, all of a sudden we were just sitting in there like, you know, kind of like, well, is this going to work? And I'm like, wait, there's turkeys. And they all just start coming up the hill right towards us. And yeah, we both got it done. And it's like, well, we were only
That
out
was
here for
easy.
about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
That's not,
Yeah.
what are we going to do for
Well, we
a
planned
day
to be
and a
here for
half?
4 days.
Right. Now what?
And we doubled up in 45 minutes.
So
We got some good work done that weekend.
So, and I think it's a good point of level of passion, right? Doesn't always have to match what you're super passionate about, right? If you hunt different species, turkey, deer, wild boar, whatever the case may be, it all boils down to who you are as just being a hunter and an outdoorsman and getting out there, like you said, fishing as well. I know that once turkey's over, you and Johansson will probably be out there hitting the rivers and the lakes and really getting after the fishing.
Oh yeah,
which I love. I enjoy it. I'm not good at it. It's not self-deprecating. It's self-awareness. But it's another thing that's nice to do and get out and enjoy nature and get outdoors and have that camaraderie again with the guys or gals, and just
whatever gets you outdoors.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, we are what, Mike?
Always outdoors.
Yeah, there it is. Yahtzee.
Luke, do we got anything else? All right. I think this is a good place to go ahead and wrap it up for this turkey talk. Wisconsin season opens up on Wednesday. Mike, we're heading up. We'll be up hunting next week. And then I'll be back up with you the week after, filming for you.
B, yep.
Season B there. So it's an exciting time. It's fun. The leaves are starting to pop, and I think it's just a really good kickoff to like the summer, spring, summer season and stuff. It's a great time to be outdoors. The birds are chirping. Everything's coming back to life, and then we might just take a couple lives. In the form of some big old Toms with some big old beards and big old spurs. So, all right, guys. Thanks again for tuning in. Guys, if you haven't yet, if you're following us on Facebook and you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, if you would be so kind as to head over to YouTube.
Jump over there.
Midwest Racks and Rods. And give us a subscribe. If you're so inclined to, maybe hit that notification button. No
At
pressure.
the very least, like a video. Just
like
hit the little like button.
We're trying to grow and expand. I mean, we don't take ourselves too seriously. We're just here for fun. But evident. We would love to have some more subscribers and a few more followers. In fact, we have we're putting together a nice little giveaway here, and we've been kind of hinting around it.
Who doesn't like
last
a good
week.
giveaway?
And that's going to be coming up here pretty soon. So I don't want to give too many details away yet.
Is it an afternoon with producer Luke?
Ooh.
Not anymore.
It would be a whole lot of that the whole time, honestly. Just be air horn.
Always outdoors. Here we go.
All right. But anyways, guys, if you guys could give
Share,
YouTube, check us out on Instagram and stuff. We'd appreciate that.
You.
We're trying to get this thing going, more and more each and every week and month and year and so on and so forth.
That's right.
We've been plugging away here now for like 4 years.
4? That's it?
4 years. It feels like an eternity.
It really does. In a good way.
In a good way. But thank you guys for following along. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Midwest Racks and Rods Outdoor Show. Until next time, always outdoors.